Joining us now, Congressman Dan Bishop from House Homeland Security. Congressman, we love having you on. Let's talk about the crazy go-round in Washington, D.C. Democrats now say, President, get your agenda through with executive orders. They want the climate agenda jammed through, voting rights, they claim, police reform, immigration. What's going on?
Liz, they've been repudiated by voters, or they know that's coming. They've been unable to get their centerpiece of their legislative package through, so they're doing the same thing you saw in the Obama years, right? It was, I have a pen and I have a phone. President Obama said he'd make law on his own. Well, President Biden's already attempted that with the OSHA vax mandate, with the eviction moratorium extension, and now they want him to take over election law that way and do a bunch of things they cannot get through Congress, and they know the American people are ready to throw them out.
Can you explain to me why this is not voting rights, why it's something else?
Oh, it's not voting rights. They want to centralize control over all of elections. Instead of in the states where it's been for all of their constitutional history, they want to have it in their hands in Washington. That's not about rights, Liz. They want control for their own political hides. And that's why it's so consistent with what they're saying about, they're unable to achieve making law in Congress. They want to now make law through the executive branch in the hands of the president.
You need ID to get health care, right? You have to show ID to get health care. You have to show ID to get on a plane. You have to show ID to get married. Why can't you show ID to get to vote? I mean, I think more than 36 states say, yeah, show voter ID to vote. What's the problem?
And the American people, by about 70%, think that's a reasonable requirement. It's been that way for decades, and that's what, to answer your own question, Liz, when they talk about voter rights, they really don't want, they want to make it easier to cheat. That's what they're after.
There's this too. Biden's 2,700-page budget bill, along with the Democrats, passed in the dead of night, first in more than a decade to include pork for Democrats about to lose their seats in the midterms, since Democrats tried, but they lost in trying to get rid of the $1.9 billion allocated for the border barriers under the Trump White House. Still no new money for a border wall.
They are absolutely, unequivocally, ideologically opposed to any measures that would secure the border, but they're glad to use taxpayers' money to try to buy votes in a situation where they know they're likely to lose.
Okay, we've got Beto O'Rourke. Let's move on to this. Democrat Beto O'Rourke, he's calling Governor Abbott of Texas a, quote, thug. This is a heated race for the Texas governorship. That's happening now. This says deportations fell a stunning 70% to 59,000 plus. Congressman, the lack of deportations, we haven't seen a drop like this in 26 years. In the Obama-Trump years, deportations often topped 300,000 or more annually. Now we're just at a sixth of that.
Liz, it's both on the deportation side as well as any control of people coming across the border. Biden administration, Democrats in Congress have made it clear they don't want any interference with the flood of illegal immigration. And so, but for Beto O'Rourke to call Governor Abbott a thug or an authoritarian, nothing's more authoritarian than using executive power to dislodge the law. And Beto O'Rourke's an expert on authoritarianism. He's the one who said, hell yeah, I'll come take your AR-15. That's an authoritarian.
You make an important point, because Border Patrol is just enforcing the laws that Congress writes. And so is the governor of Texas. He's enforcing state laws, right?
Absolutely. The law is written and is supposed to be enforced. President Biden and his allies in Congress have made it a practice to completely obliterate the law of immigration, and we're seeing a flood.
Congressman, why did the White House delay the release of the statistics on ICE and what happened at the border by 3 months? Why? Why the delay?
Because they're trying to delay accountability as long as they can. They want to keep the voters in the dark. They keep trying to say they're sending some people back of these 2 million that have been encountered. They're really not, and you have to get a million details to understand why, but they're letting them in, they want to let more in, and they want to hold off the voters knowing what's happening.
Well, they deported 34 known or suspected terrorists. We don't know with the 600,000 gotaways. Wow, what's going on? Congressman Dan Bishop, it's always terrific having you on. Come back soon.